Can one word change your life? Henry Reith says yes. From the UK music gigs to DJing to the 2010 Winter Olympics to building, oh crap, an company keeping tens of millions of plastic bags out of the landfills. Stay tuned for his 5 actions to find opportunity and build with purpose. Now, welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi, where insight becomes action today. How we say yes without being reckless, how to turn away unsexy problems into real impact, and how to make your spirit meet the systems framework to run an aligned, sustainable business. Henry, welcome to the show. Say hello, tell them who you are, and what oh crap does. Like, what does this moment you realize, yes, this could be a strategy, not just a word? Oh crap.
Thank you very much, Stacey. Thank you. Oh crap. Yes. So I'm a crapologist. We'll start there. I'm a crapologist here at Oh Crap, and we do non-plastic compostable dog poo bags here in Australia and some other parts of the world as well. And we just like hanging out with dogs and changing the world one dog poo bag at a time is essentially the way that we do things. And we, about 10 years ago, there was this moment with my co-founder, and he was going down to pick up his dog's poo. He's like 6'6", ex-basketball player. And his dog with his tiny little dog all the way down to go and pick up the dog poo, and suddenly put the poo in the plastic bag and thought, hang on, that doesn't make sense. Like, why am I putting organic dog poo in a plastic bag? And
Yeah.
then he thought, well, there's got to be another way. So messaged a friend in materials. Pretty quickly, the friend came back and said, hey, actually, there might be some material for that. And there was a bit of stuff done for a couple of years. And then in 2017, I met my business partner, and Oh Crap was formed. We took this idea that he had and we turned it into a company and a movement, an Oh Crap family that's now saved nearly 55 million dog poo bags from landfill. That
Wow.
Yeah, when I remember saving 250,000 in that first year, I thought that was amazing and we'd really changed the environment. And I remember how hard we worked to do that. And now to think it's 55 million, it
Wow.
just and
What?
I try and visualize it sometimes, and the only visual that really makes sense to me is we can lay, and the OCRAP family have used a number of poo bags that can go between Melbourne and Sydney 20 times. So if you lay them on the floor, they'd stretch between them 20 times the number of dog poo bags that have been saved from landfill.
That's insanity. Wow. Now tell the people like UK when it comes to UK local events like DJ at the 2010 Winter Olympics, New Life in Australia, what did saying yes unlock each step?
Yeah, I was always the kid at school who did the random thing at the weekends. When I was in primary school, I did lots of motocross. I go horse riding. I was sort of the slight rebel, and I go to my very nice school on a Monday morning, and everyone said, "Oh, it was very nice to hang out with whoever this weekend and play a bit of soccer or go for dinner somewhere or go to the movies." And my weekend would be, hey, we drove to Europe this weekend. We went motocrossing, and then we were driving back across Europe on Sunday night, and there were sort of weird people in that car park. And then we went somewhere else, and we were throwing stuff out the van because we couldn't be bothered to wash it. Just crazy stuff when I was a kid. But and then I go to school and say these things, and they were so concerned once that I was having delusional ideas that they phoned my parents up and said, "Hey, is did Henry really have this weekend?" And my mum said, "Yes, he actually did." So I think I had this sort of slight rebel, slight let's go and say yes to trying things and
Yeah.
see what happens. And whether it was a mountain bike, difficult mountain bike race, I was the only person at school in my local area that said yes to this thing when I was 15 years old. And I think that then grew into as I was becoming an adult, I really got into the music scene. And, one opportunity led to the next. I remember saying to a friend one day, yeah, I will drive you somewhere. And that led into, well, another DJ said, oh, actually, I want to drink and go out party. Can you drive me too? And suddenly, 2 or 3 years later, I'm just the driver for all the stars around the UK DJing. And that leads into DJing too. And my phone was filled up with all these amazing drum and bass DJs. And I find at the end of my exams, I dreamt of being an accountant. For some reason, that was my dream from the age of 5 years old. I wanted to own businesses. And so I finished my exams when I was 21 and went to Canada. And I just wanted to go snowboarding, man, just hang out in the snow and be cool and all that stuff. And I realized I went and I just Googled, I didn't plan it at all, just Googled snowboarding Canada.
Oh,
Whistler
wow.
was at the top. And so I landed in Canada, thought, right, I'm going to Whistler because I had no plan B or anything.
Oh,
And I
wow.
turned up and the Olympics were there and like, oh, cool, this is going to be a good year then. And I had emailed all the clubs around Whistler with, hey, I do all this club promoting, I DJ, I can help out because that's kind of the coolest job to have when you're in a snowboard resort. I think one of the coolest ones to go and be a DJ. And I got the chance to DJ at the Winter Olympics, and I was up on stage, and I had this moment of, how on earth did I get here?
Yeah.
Surely, surely this can't be real.
Hmm.
And I realized at that point that essentially my life was just a series of yeses and let's try that, let's do that, let's experience that thing. And
Yeah.
so I look back on it and I think that one of my best life advices for anyone under 25 is say yes to 9 out of 10 things. See what the experience is going to do. And then as I became into my late 20s, I eventually went from Canada to the UK, from Canada to Australia. I was here for a couple of years. I couldn't figure out how to stay at the time. So I went back to the UK
Hmm.
when I was 25. And yeah, a couple of years later, I got sponsored back to Oz full time. That was amazing.
Wow.
But it was just a series of yeses. And the way I got sponsored here is I used to listen to a podcast now 15 years ago. And it was a business podcast. The person talked about all of the things that they did to go and get publicity.
Yeah.
And I actually went and did these things. And I was in the newspaper in Australia, even though at the time I wasn't in the country anymore. I was in
Wow.
the newspaper with a picture of me when the newspapers were a thing. And underneath it said small business marketing expert.
Hmm.
And I emailed the person on the podcast, hey, I just did your thing and it worked. It was amazing. So
Hmm.
6 months later, I heard back and he said, oh, well done. What I probably said, well done, mate, but being Aussie, but he said, well done. And then we just formed a relationship from there. And really, after I was reached 25, I sort of became a lot more focused on really deciding that DJing was no longer my thing because I realized that I couldn't bring a big life-changing impact to the world. I want to do something that felt a lot more meaningful.
Right.
And eventually, when I came back to Australia, oh crap, I met my business partner, and um, yeah, just decided that this oh crap felt like something to me. I understood it from the business point of view, but I
Yeah.
grew up in the country and had dogs, so when the idea, and it was really just a concept of, but we could change the world, right? We could do something that, if we say yes to it, is actually going to remove plastic from the world and change the world.
Right.
I was like, yeah, we can do that. And said yes to a lot of late nights and dreaming about how to make the best dog poo bag in the world. And I think now I look back on it, it's it's just a series of yeses through my whole life
Yeah.
that have led me to the point of before 25, I said yes to 9 out of 10 things and had all these amazing experiences. And then
Yeah.
after 25, I've said no to 9 out of 10 things. And all of those experiences have actually led to being able to do this. Before I was 25, I ran a web marketing agency for a bit. Before I was 25, I understood the DJing and understood sound and emotion and how to tell a story through DJing.
Yeah.
And I realized that all of these skills now is how what Oh Crap is. It's a huge story. It's
Yeah.
marketing is important to make change in the world. And I think sometimes uh, people maybe think that eco should not be marketing and we shouldn't be doing that. But to drive change, it is the thinking about reaching people because otherwise, if they don't know, they'll
Right.
never make that decision and have the opportunity to say yes.
That's 100% right. Now, how do you filter your yes, like the mission fit, energy, learning, leverage?
I I think personally, I've really come to understand that there's more to business and sustainability than just, hey, we've got this product, buy it, buy it, buy it. I really
Yeah.
view my life now as more of a energy, spiritual journey that goes along with what I say yes to choosing to make environmentally friendly decisions.
Hmm.
So I believe there's a bit of energy behind that, and it's the decisions that we make each day, and it's the one
Yeah.
of the mantras that we have is what are we going to do when no one's watching?
Hmm.
And we think about that as a company as well, is because we have a compostable product
Yeah.
and it actually does what it says on the tin. It breaks down. That does
Yeah.
actually mean it can't just be in a warehouse for 20 years, and if we don't sell it, then we can keep selling it here and there. Is that after we sell everything with a year's worth of life on at least, but when
Yeah.
it goes below that, we will, especially in the early days, we would effectively have to throw out stock. So what
Yeah.
we have actually done in the past is lots of warehouses will just go and throw the stock in the regular garbage, and that's what they do because it's really easy and it doesn't take very much time. But because
Right.
we had some stock that had gone over life, we decided to go and take that and actually unravel the rolls from the cardboard insert, put the
Right.
cardboard insert in the recycling, and put the bags that are compostable in the green bin.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think there's a energy that comes with just making all those decisions all the time behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And I think that's a way that has now gone sort of transferred from the company into my life and
Yeah.
now into my life back into the company as well.
Yeah.
So I very much view how we interact with customers, for instance, at a bit of an energetic level, is that we aren't trying to just make them buy any piece of junk just to make money.
Yeah.
Is we've said no to a lot of potential products we could do and um, have thought of because they're not truly eco-friendly. They're not
Yeah.
truly compostable.
Right.
And so we've decided that we do want everything we do want has to be eco-friendly.
Yeah. I love that. I love that because a lot of companies don't think like that. So it's important to really think. eco-friendly, and to be able to, focus on positive energy and energy-friendly decisions, and those things pay off. And it's good karma, and it's good for the environment, and it's good for the people and their health. So it plays a huge role, in our society. Now, what's a time, yes, scared you, but paid off because you moved away?
Time that, yes, scared me, but it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Great question. I I mean, one of them I think a simple one that comes to mind is I went to Canada snowboarding, being this cool snowboarder. That was supposed to be for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to go back to the world that I dreamt of as a kid of being an accountant in the UK.
I can't see you as an
Instead,
accountant. Go ahead.
yeah. Instead, I got to the end of my snowboard season in Canada and I'd met a very awesome Aussie woman.
Hmm.
And she said, "Hey, I know what I want to do with my life. Do you want to come back to Oz with me?" And I thought, sure, I've got my alternative is going to be an accountant like I in the UK. So let's try this Oz thing. So
Yeah.
my life really went from go to Canada for 6 months and go and grow up essentially to I ended up coming to Australia. The that relationship didn't work out, but she showed me Australia, and that has literally become most of my adult life has now been spent here just from saying yes to coming to Oz.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, avoiding recklessness, yes, by saying yes. What guardrails do you keep that keeps you bold and smart?
Yes, I think if you ask my pre-25-year-old self, the answer would have been not much. Especially DJing, some of the places I found myself in and some of the very near misses I had with some of the nightlife
Yeah,
doesn't bear thinking about. And I would go to these clubs and you'd have to walk through two lines of sniffer dogs with the police and,
yeah.
uh, you know, ch the metal detectors on the way in. And I had people try and get in my car outside of
Wow.
venues. So my pre-25-year-old self not wasn't the smartest
Yeah,
logical decision maker, but that's also what I decided to do. I
right.
think now something that really means a lot to me is by say I've really worked a lot to find my purpose. And I think one of the most important things I've done recently is what is my big vision for my life?
Hmm.
So w- what does my life look like? So one of my visions and goals is to have a 25-acre farm
Hmm.
uh, on the Sunshine Coast, 15 minutes from the beach and 15 minutes from Maroochydore. So 50 Maroochydore the main area here.
Yeah,
So that's the start of my vision. That's the first sentence or two. So as
yeah,
I'm thinking about saying yes to things now, I'm thinking, does this actually align with where my big life plan really goes?
yeah,
If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, the now I'm over 25, the answer is no. I'm not going to do that
right.
because I think I it's becoming a specialist at the place you want your vision to go. So everything I now do works towards that because I know being in the country, having some fresh air, being outside, that's my happy place. I grew up in the country. So it's
Yeah.
become a really good filter for yes, that's a thing to do, or no, that's not.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that sounds beautiful too. 25-acre farm right by the water. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Now, for someone who's stuck and maybe, what's your 60-second decision lens?
Great question. For me, it comes back to the big life vision. So
Hmm.
because I have a very clear vision where I'm going in life, to me, it's does that serve that vision or does it not? And I'm not
Right.
saying that you can't do things that are not not every single thing I do in the world is that, I might watch uh, an hour or two of sport once a week. Is
Yeah.
that really contributing to the big mission? Maybe not. But there's so many decisions in life where there is that 60 seconds. Well, do I do this or do I don't? And I just come back to what is my vision in life. So, I found on YouTube there's some meditations to help you get into the place of what is my vision.
Hmm.
I've written it down. I listened to a vision, then I recorded it, listened to a vision audio every morning. And so it really, really sticks with me at the start of the day. What is my vision?
Yeah.
And then everything from there is it fits in or it doesn't.
Right. I love that. Now, turning the least glamorous problem into a purpose-driven brand. So, why does dog waste bags, and why did you choose that? And what did you see that others missed?
So I think for us is it was really that moment of my business partner going down and having a plastic bag and putting his dog poo in a plastic bag and thinking, but this doesn't make sense. This isn't like
Yeah.
logically an organic dog poo, plastic bag, that's never going to break down. So I
Yeah.
think that was a very important point. And one of the biggest skills in life, I think, is asking questions. So the
Yeah.
first thing is asking the question of why am I doing this? Why is this a thing?
Right.
And then for us is we didn't want to just, for me, I don't think eco, and for us, we didn't think eco just had to be, let's make an eco version of this. It
Yeah.
has to be, how can we make the best product in the world that happens to be eco?
Right.
So very much on the Elon Musk, Tesla, he's set out to make the best car in the world. Now, I'm not going to discuss whether it is or it isn't, but from my understanding, he went first principles. What is all of the things that theoretically make the best car? Oh, and
Right.
it's electric. And so we really just applied those first principle thinking to dog poo bags. Okay, so how can we make the best dog poo bag in the world? So the best dog poo bag in the world is going to be eco, but we also want to make it a good pickup experience. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
made it twice as thick as average plastic bags. So when you put your hand in, you don't get that warm, wet feeling. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
dog owners know that feeling.
Yeah.
And we also, for most dog poo bags, and dog owners will know this, is when you open the first bag, the sticker on the bag sort of rips the first
Yeah.
bag on the roll, and that's
Hmm.
really annoying. So we had that problem at the start too, but we thought we really want to solve it. So we spent two
Yeah.
years geeking out on how can we make the best stickers under the sun so they don't rip the first bag. And it became as simple as put a perforation down the middle of the sticker so you can
Mm,
literally just pull the sticker apart and it doesn't rip the first bag. So we really think about things of how can this be the best in the world?
hmm.
Oh, and it's also eco at the same time.
Wow. That's right, really smart that you had, the little perforation in the middle and that you could just split the sticker apart. That's awesome. Now, impact in plain English, like how has Oh Crap kept millions of plastic waste bags out of the landfills?
Simply, it is a combination of marketing
Hmm.
because if we don't know something is there as an option, then our OCRAP family would have never found us.
Yeah.
We geeked out on the product and have made the best dog poo bag in the world.
Hmm.
And after that, it is we really care about the OCRAP family as a idea, as a movement, as a energy.
Yeah.
So we really have developed a community feel, and we actually, one thing we do is we write all of our emails to customers in
Hmm.
just plain text, no graphics, no extra stuff. If
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to email you, yes, it's a lot of it is automated, but it's just
Hmm.
plain text.
Right.
Hi Stacey, I hope you're having an amazing Wednesday. Just letting you know, I just wanted to check in because I saw that you bought about 6 months ago and you might be running low. If you are, here's the link to reorder. Like, we don't try and push sales or push anything that we um, isn't aligned with creating a more sustainable world, essentially, from our company. So I
Right.
think I would say it's as simple as that. There is a journey of trying endless amounts of ads, failing endlessly. I remember at the start, especially, there was probably 18 months of ads that just didn't work. And then we
Right.
magically found the formula, but each ad it was just a bit better and a bit better and found out ways to get there. So
Right.
there is a deeper side, but I think the energy and the community we've built since we have customers who've been with us for those 8.5 years. We've got customers who are on their 20th order of dog poo bags with us.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Now, branding the unsexy, the tone, humor, or the honesty that wins customers, how did you create that? And like, because the product you sell isn't really like the sexiest thing in the world. So how did you really get the people's eyes and really get people interested in it?
So it's dog poo. We've got to have some fun with it. So it really started. I mean, the name is one thing. So we actually, at the very start, we had a different name,
Hmm.
and we were thinking it doesn't quite have that energy of what do you feel when you have to
Yeah,
pick up the poo, and you
right.
kind of have that feeling of crap, and it's crap as well. So we found the name, and I think it just nailed and really spoke to that emotion that we have when we have to pick up the poo. And the
Yeah.
next thing is for the logo, we actually put the paws on the bag. The logo, the paws are in the right place for when the dog
Yeah.
sits down and does its business.
Hmm.
So we like having fun with that. And then over the years, we've developed quite a library of what we call crapisms. And so the way that we speak, instead of saying awesome, for instance, we say pawsome. Um, we we judge how customers are interacting with us, and we might say, "Oh, that's a bit of a crappy situation," or
Right.
"Sorry, the post people missed your house. That's a crappy situation. We'll make sure we get it to you tomorrow, or phone them to see where it's at." So
Right.
I think we've always found ways to have fun, and dog puns, but
Hmm.
it does help. Most people love a dog meme, dog pun, and we get to talk crap, and we get to sort of politely swear on radio and TV and all the places that you realize presenters suddenly think to themselves, "Oh, I can say the word crap in this environment." And so I think just having fun with it and not taking it too seriously. We do we do have a bit of a saying is we're just dealing with dog poo bags. Let's not make it too serious.
Right, right. I love it. I love it. Now, your simplest acquisition, like retention and flywheel, how do you, gain people's retention and what is the concept of retention and flywheel?
Yeah. So one thing that's really important to us is communicating human to human,
Hmm.
because I really think of I don't want to just spam your email inbox with stuff. So yes, there's ads on the front end that will bring people in, but when they're in the system, it's very much a human to human led email interactions after then.
Yeah.
we do automate a huge amount of our emails, but they're just what we call naked text Gmail emails. So when I write them, I actually go to Gmail, open up Gmail, and write the email in Gmail. So it's
Yeah.
as if I'm writing to you.
Right.
But then I will take that and I will put it in the automations. So we don't have any fancy graphics. We write human to human. And if it doesn't fit in a communication we'd send to another human, we don't send
Mhm.
it essentially. And I
Mhm.
think that over time, people really appreciate getting to know us as real humans.
Right.
And uh, we also, something else that we do is we have a annual email.
Hmm.
And so the date that someone first ordered every year on that date, we will
Hmm.
send out an email. Yes, it's automated, but again, it's plain text and
Yeah.
just say happy 5 year anniversary for saying no to plastic and yes to
Right.
compostable dog poo bags. So I think we also reinforce a lot of the decision that our Ocrat family made because it is more expensive than plastic dog poo bags,
Yeah.
but it's the conscious choice that they're choosing to make.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, a community or partner story where you share purpose and multi results, what is one that you could think of?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough now 6 years ago to RSPCA found us. We found RSPCA. I don't know which way round that sort of went, but we came together with RSPCA and we actually had the opportunity to change all of their dog shelters in Australia to using non-plastic dog poo bags. So we donated a huge amount of dog poo bags to them every year, and yeah, we got to change and save all the plastic they would have used, and instead change it to compostable.
Love that. I love that. Now, you from a near-death mountain bike crash to new framework, like you had like a really tragic event that had happened. Walk us through the moment that cracked you open spirit to spirituality, because so a lot of times when things like that happen, we start to look at life a little bit differently. What kind of impact did that happen to you?
Yeah, when I was 18, I was studying for my final exams at school. And my version of revising and memorizing everything from my exams was I would study for 45 minutes and then
Yeah.
I go for a mountain bike loop that was just by my house for 20 minutes. And I did that all day long. So for once, I was actually not being a rebel at school and I wanted to take my final exams pretty seriously. So I
Yeah.
was really trying. And then at the end of the day, most days I'd go on this huge ride around the back of the hill that we lived on.
Yeah.
And I remember going out one day. It was a day that I, for some reason, decided to wear a helmet. And the rebel in me never used to wear a helmet for most things. And I
Right.
went around the back of the hill. By that point, I was really fit, really fast. One of the byproducts of revising for school was over a month, I was a absolute mountain biking machine. And I came around a corner and I saw I was going just a bit fast. It was really dry on the ground that for the UK is actually something you don't get too often growing up in the UK. So
Yeah.
came around, it was very gravelly, gritty on the outside, and I just kept sliding out. And I saw this tree, and this tree was trunk was up, and then there was this angles branch, and I did my absolute best. In my head, I thought, well, I'm gonna bend my head down and try and squeeze under this tree because at this point I'm gonna hit the tree. I've gone off the track and I'm gonna hit the tree.
Yeah.
And what actually ended up happening was I bent my head down enough that I had a direct head-on impact with his 90-degree branch. And I
Wow.
had a bit of a Tom and Jerry moment actually, where the bike sort of kept going and my head was going ding against the tree. And what ended up happening is I completely passed out. I was gone. I remember leaving my body.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I remember seeing a very peaceful scene of my bike, me, everything around me.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in that for what felt like a long time. And eventually that started to fade and go. And people talk about the white light. And I really was seeing going somewhere towards the white light. And
Yeah.
I got very, very close. And I remember the world really closing in on me. And I had this really strong sense that it's not time. I'm here to do something on earth. Like I'm here to do
Yeah.
stuff. And I
Yeah.
remember snapping back into my body and feeling this incredible just pain. And it was so painful that I couldn't feel the pain in a way.
Yeah.
And I, yeah, I was knocked out still. My friend who I was luckily riding with had come back because he was a bit ahead of me and found me on the floor.
Wow.
And I just was coming around at that point. And yeah, it turned out I had to walk about a K to get off the hill so my parents could come and pick me up. And went and I was so knocked out. My mum was a nurse, luckily, when I was younger. So I walked in the door at home completely, hardly unable to walk and things. She took me to the hospital and I'd broken my back in 4 places. And yeah, I remember sitting there or lying there, more to the point, lying
Yeah.
there and the doctors poking me and prodding me and uh, just I knew something really big had happened, but I was so knocked out that I also couldn't
Yeah.
really comprehend it. And over the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks or so, I had some moments where I couldn't really feel my body, and
Oh,
I
wow.
was basically just told to go home and don't move. And um, I did that, and I lost an inch in height. I remember trying to brush my teeth
Oh, wow.
for the first time, and I didn't realize when you brush your teeth that there's actually a rotation force in there.
Oh,
You're actually
wow.
pushing against your teeth from one side. And it
Yeah.
was so painful to do that. But I realized that my eyes were about an inch below where the bolts were on the mirror on the wall.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'd lost an inch in height and yeah, my bones were just disintegrated and crushed, certainly two of them. And it it at the time, I think it was so big that I didn't completely understand it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really tell anyone. And I don't know if my parents have actually heard or I've ever told them the story of what I felt on the bike
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
coming off and seeing myself. But I really, so not many people have really known about that until more recently. And I've understood that there's more of an energy component and spirituality, and there's no way that just my physical body is who I am, because
Yeah.
I was not in my body, but I was still me.
Yeah.
And I know that I know I went through that experience. And
Wow.
I also have come to realize over the years that I couldn't, I through my early 20s, I didn't really make sense of it. I did recover. I got all my senses back, but I didn't know anyone else who'd ever had something like that. And I didn't talk to anyone really. So it was just an experience at the start. But then I think during my second half of my 20s, my sort of personal development route of listening to the standard personal development books started taking more of a spiritual angle.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realized that having journeys out the body is actually a known scientific phenomenon that's been proved. I know that we can talk to our angels. We I know that the everything is more of just an energy and a representation.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually realized, and I've come to realize more recently, that breaking my back and being in that much pain was actually just the energetic representation of what I was feeling inside. And I truly believe that our bodies and our minds will align. So if I'm feeling pain at a sort of mental level, my body will get to that place. Or if I'm feeling very positive, my
Yeah.
body will get to that place as well. And there's been a lot of work since then I've done on myself to understand that experience. And that really, I think, yeah, probably, well, 8 years ago now, I studied yoga. That is very much the gateway drug into potentially spirituality.
Yeah.
I started to learn about meditation,
Hmm.
and it still took me, even though I read the books, it still took me 2 years to actually start meditating
Yeah.
because it was still very foreign to me. But ever since I've taken lots of these practices on, my life is so much better. My
Yeah.
life is so much better. And that's where I really view business as well as an energy. And there's so many things that I've done in the business world that now try and reflect, okay, so we're probably not a fixed entity of some sort, and we're probably just an energetic representation of some sort. So
Yeah.
what are we going to do in the business to represent that too?
I love that. I love that. And I agree with you. And it must also help you not get so stressed out either, because you look at life with a different pair of eyes. You don't see things like a lot of individuals who are so wrapped up into their work and all they think about is, I got to make payroll. I got to pay the bills. I got to do this. I got to do that. They're working crazy hours. They're stressed out. And you probably, look at life in a more fundamental, more fulfilling way.
Yeah, what even one of the things that happened very early on was I appreciated that waking up and seeing the sky each morning was actually a blessing. And I look
Yeah.
up at the sky, I look up the blue sky over there, and I appreciate that's really special because it means I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I also have a very conscious thought that the sky is the limit. I'm
Yeah.
not that bothered about going to space,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the rest of the world inside of that space, I really like. So I'm really thankful to be here. And I was so meditation, uh, when I found that, everyone always talks up meditation as this incredible experience. You'll be some blissed
Yeah.
out high hippie on life and loving everything.
Yeah.
And so when I started meditating, I actually found the first 3 months pretty not nice, to be honest. Not a experience that I was expecting.
Yeah.
And through my 20s, I was always very strong, very fit, and not to boast, but I had like a six pack. I was so strong.
Yeah.
And what actually happened when I started meditating is I lost all my muscle. There was nothing. The chest disappeared, the arms disappeared. But what I realized is all of that stuff, all that tension, all that look was actually just armor because I was so stressed and I was holding my body so strong
Yeah.
that was what appeared to be muscle, but it wasn't. And about 3 months into meditating, I lost all my muscle. And I had to spend a good 6 months actually learning how to be strong for real
Yeah. Yeah.
and going to the gym and building up real muscle.
Muscle.
And ever since started meditating, all those layers keep just peeling back of that stress, that what was going through me. So yeah, there's I don't get too stressed about the ups and downs in, say, the business or life,
Yeah.
because I really think, you know what, I could actually be dead. It's as
Right.
simple as that. And then
Yeah.
I really think meditation is the gateway, or breath work is something I've come to more recently, is a
Right.
really good way to drop into my body and realize that the outside world is actually the story that I
Yeah.
project on the outside world, not me, myself.
Right. Oh, I love that. That's an amazing story. And I feel, I look at spirituality the same way you do. And it does, there is more out there than what people realize. And I think a lot of people have realized that there is more out there. And then you do have your skeptics or people who live in their little gray box. But, when people had an experience like yours, that's evidence right there that there is more to life, and you have to think about it, this world wasn't put by a bunch of craters like just thrown together and then, all these meteors, and then we ended up with this beautiful world and all these trees and grasses and flowers. And you think about how the trees produce oxygen, and the oxygen keep us alive, and everything is run by energy. Basically everything in the entire universe is run by energy. If we didn't have energy, we wouldn't be here. So,
Mm.
when you think of things in that aspect, it makes you realize that when the body disintegrates, where does that energy go? And you know,
We're made out of the same thing as dinosaurs, and I always dreamed to myself, well, I know that I've certainly at this point had past life experiences where I've seen myself in kind of the recent past life
yeah,
times, and I
mhm,
understand it when I've gone to those spaces, meditating or breath work or those kind of experiences. I understand that what I'm going through in those times is me.
yeah,
So we know that our cells really keep the last 5 generations very within inside of us. So there's
yeah,
potentially traumas or experiences, or there's those deja vu moments that we know we haven't been to a place as us, but somehow
right.
we feel like we've been there. So I
Hmm.
sort of imagine all this. This is my crazy mind in the evening. I imagine all this stuff on all the way back and think, well,
Yeah,
if I'm made from the same thing that, the generation before me was made, there's, I guess, the physical body at an energetic level, and then there's the spiritual energy. But
yeah,
I can go through those experiences. So made of the same things dinosaurs were made of.
yeah.
I'm drinking the same water. I'm made of the same material. How can I access my dinosaur body? And how can I, for a day, how could I just be my dinosaur self and have that
Yeah,
experience and go and see the world with huge trees and,
yeah.
uh, the amazing dinosaurs world. So one day I'm hoping to have a past life experience where I can go back to my dinosaur me and have a day in my dinosaur life.
I think that would be very cool. I'd like to do something like that myself. Definitely, definitely. Now, Henry, listeners were promised 5 concrete actions. What are your 5 for the next 7 days? So, for what do you think people need, that they need to, really keep in mind and really and do?
Yeah. So 5 things that come to mind that are really easy to go and do. What is the life vision for your life?
Hmm.
And is that where are you going? Because then the action you're going to take to get there. Or you
Yeah,
also know if you don't want to take those actions and you don't want to be involved in things because it doesn't align with the life vision.
right,
So go to YouTube and search, life vision meditation, and you'll probably find something that works. That's what I did.
right.
Next thing is I would go, for me, I would go around if you do have a company or even if you're part of a company and ask the question, what hidden plastic are we using as a company? Because when
Hmm.
you give something a name, you start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah,
And that's one of the questions we asked early on in Oh Crap is like, what's the hidden plastic part of dog ownership? So there's
yeah,
actually more things, we use certain inks on our packaging. And so asking questions. So in terms of removing plastic, what's the hidden plastic in my company
right.
or my life? And suddenly you'll see it everywhere. It really is everywhere. The next thing is I I'm personally very biased towards meditation and or breath work. I
Yeah,
think if if someone can find a practice, it might not feel like it's having the massive effect straight away. It might not, as I shared earlier, it might not be a blissed out effect straight away, but
Mhm.
it was over time, either a breathwork practice or a meditation practice will make your life so much better. It really will. And for me, it's allowed me to say to be very calm in lots of situations.
Right.
Next thing I would say is we get to choose as humans what we do say yes to.
Yeah.
So I've I've said yes to Oh Crap, and Oh Crap family have said yes to Oh Crap and changing the world one poop at a time. So uh, when we next get to make the choice whether we buy plastic or eco-friendly,
Yeah.
there's lots of situations now where eco-friendly really isn't that much more. And
Hmm.
sure, that does not mean every single thing in my life is not plastic, but where I
Yeah.
can and where it's practical, I do buy eco-friendly because I really think of things as an energy, as a what's the energy I'm bringing into the world and respecting. And by this
Mhm.
point, I think it's plastic in most situations. In a certainly single-use plastic isn't needed. So,
Yeah.
what's the ask yourself what's a eco-friendly choice I could make in this situation? You don't have
Right.
to initially, but you might find places that it becomes very easy to make. And I'd say the last thing is enjoy life,
Yeah.
literally. I think it is very special. It I so myself and all the team here at OCRAP, we actually have a gratitude practice. So the team is literally getting paid to do gratitude every day. So
Mhm.
writing down three things in the morning, three things in the afternoon, in the format of I'm grateful for X because of Y, and
Yeah.
what comes after the because
Hmm.
is the most important thing. And after I've been doing gratitude for over 500 days now, every single day.
Wow.
And when we are in a state of gratitude, then we can't be in a state of lack or despair or unhappiness. We can only really be in one state at once. So
Yeah.
having a being loving, enjoying life because it's special and combining that with a gratitude practice is
Hmm.
such a simple extra thing and takes less than 5 minutes a day. Ideally, if you can write it down, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I also attach some of mine, depending on the day, to the end of a meditation as well, and just mentally think about it.
I love that. I love that so much. This has been amazing. Now, where can people find Oh Crap?
So simple as you can go to OCRAP, so OHCRAP, as simple as it sounds, ocrap.com.au, and that's where the OCRAP family hang out, and that's where we like to talk crap, and there's some good crapisms around the site. So if you want a good laugh and find some good dog jokes, we've got a good library of dog jokes on OCRAP.
I love it. This has been amazing. I thank you so much for coming on this show. And I got to tell you, Henry, you are an amazing individual. You've gone through so much and your story is amazing. And I just love how you lived the life that you wanted to live in the beginning as a young man. And then you really had a dream. And even though you got your education being an accountant, you followed your dream and you made your dream become a reality. And and with the experience that you had of your near death experience, that actually, you had to go through a lot of obstacles because that was a very trying time. You talked about it and it sounds simple, but what you went through was major, major stuff. And you overcame that, and you actually in the end it actually opened your eyes to a whole new way of living, and a whole, sometimes we ask ourselves, why did this have to happen to me? I don't get it. Why, but sometimes I feel like sometimes things are meant to happen for a a reason. And I think sometimes these things happen and they change our lives. They make us look at life differently. They make us appreciate things differently. And I love how you focus on gratitude, because gratitude is one of the most powerful things in our lives. And if you have gratitude in your life, and you have love in your life, those two things will bring you very far in life, and you will feel good as a person, and you will be able to really amount to anything that you have, if any dream, any wish, anything, you have those two things in life. Those things will make you feel great, and you'll be able to change everybody else's life one step at a time. And that's what you're doing. And I just want to thank you for being you, because you're just an amazing individual.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you very much for having me on. That it's really
Thank
fun.
you.
It's been very fun to chat to you.
Oh, same here. And I hope you'll come back. There's a lot of topics we could talk about that I'd love to go into. And I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.